Welcome to Vendée Live in an overcast Les Sables d'Olonne today, but it is day 18 of the race and I feel I've been rewarded for good behaviour because I have been given some company in the studio today. I am delighted to say that I'm joined by offshore sailing royalty. Charles Caudrelier, skipper of the Maxi Edmond de Rothschild, has won nearly every race known to man. There is very little this guy has not done, and he completed his first solo round-the-world race in 50 days on the Maxi Trimaran in February of this year, winning the Arkia Ultime Challenge. He knows a thing or two about going fast and in a solo configuration. With speed records to your name, Charles, welcome and thank you for staying for the English show. We appreciate that.
Good afternoon.
So the Vendée Globe, how important a race is it?
For me, that was one of my dreams. Of course, I didn't achieve it. I never been on the starting line, but maybe one day. But I was so happy to do the race around the planet on the Maxi Edmond Rothschild. So that was. But I will try to do it, but I don't know where.
Oh, watch this space! You heard that here. Also joining me today is sailing legend based in the USA. She's in Utah currently as we speak. Italian professional sailor Francesca Klapcic, who has a long list of accolades to her name too. Two-time Olympian, winner of the Ocean Race with 11th Hour Racing, and now skipper of the multi-hull, the Ocean 50, upwind by Mer Concept. Francesca, good morning to you.
Good afternoon to you.
Nice timing. How have you enjoyed following the race? Have you been watching it keenly?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been, super interesting, and I've been pretty much glued to the tracker and, trying to run my own routing and keep checking on a lot of skippers and a lot of friends, honestly, you have a lot of friends on the water.
That's true, and it's perfect timing for you because you are having rehabilitation from a knee operation. So there's nothing better to do than follow the Vendée Globe, right?
Yes, that's definitely true. I had a ACL reconstruction after an accident that I had in March, and it was just, the right time to fix it, to get ready for the next season and the seasons ahead, and not, probably not the best to be at home stuck here, but at the same time, the Vendée is definitely keep me busy and keep me company during the rehab.
Well, and it has been busy on the race course because in the news today, there's a little bit of frustration in that peloton pack that have fallen off the front runners. They're a little bit disappointed to be in different conditions today, but there is a slight relief because it has allowed them to do some of the housekeeping, do some of the job repairs that they need to do before they head round the Cape of Good Hope. I only remembered the French then, I've been here too long. And Eric Bellion has been at the front of the Daggerboard fleet saying that he's taking this as a marathon, not a sprint. But Violette d'Orange has a very different view and she's racing alongside Eric.
C'est des conditions paradisiaques, il y a un peu de vent, il fait chaud, il fait beau, la mer est toute plate, enfin, c'est vraiment agréable. Et du coup, j'ai un peu l'impression d'être en vacances parce que il n'y a pas beaucoup de manœuvres à faire. Ce qui est bien, c'est que du coup, j'ai le temps pour me reposer. Ça fait du bien. Et je me prépare parce que dans les prochains jours, dans maintenant moins d'une semaine, on va rentrer dans le flux des dépressions du sud. Donc on va retrouver du vent fort très très rapidement. Et petit à petit, il va faire de plus en plus froid.
So anticipation there from Violette to what comes ahead of her, but it's very different to what we've seen recently in the last few days with how fast the boats at the front have been going. You know what it's like to go that fast, and you know what it's like to go that fast in IMOCAs. How do you live in those conditions?
It really depends on the sea state, actually, and I think they could be faster, but I was listening Nicolas Lindven this morning, and he explains that the sea state is small but bad, and I think it's very, very difficult to go so fast. And I think they have lots of stress because it's a very long race. When I did it and I break the record, we were on a short race, 7 days. But I think they all think about what is going to happen in the next 2 months, and they are afraid. So I think it's lots of very uncomfortable and lots of stress for them and for the boat.
Yeah, and when you deal with that stress, I mean, you were on the same boat that Nico Lundven was on when you set the crude record. And how, the intensity, but you could share it amongst lots of people. When it's just you, that's quite hard work, right?
It's quite difficult to share what's happening on this boat because you always forget when you come on shore. But yes, the boat move a lot, and the problem with this boat, they're not flying completely. They have not T-rudder to fly correctly, so sometimes they go very fast, accelerate a lot, they fly, and then suddenly they stop, and you have a big crash on inside, and it's very dangerous. We have seen some of the guys put some helmets. That means that it can be dangerous, so it's another stress, yes, not to damage you. So it's quite intensive, yes.
Yeah, Francesca, coming to you, when you were on board 11th Hour during the ocean race, you know, the speed and the intensity, you know, how did you find that? Did you still keep that speed when you had to do a sail change, or do you slow the boat down to do the sail changes to be safe?
Most of the time to do sail changes or, you know, to go to the bow or do any repair, we were definitely slowing the boat down. It was, you know, too dangerous to just go on the deck when the boat was, you know, slamming between waves. So we were trying to be really efficient, get everything ready before going out and slowing the boat down. So it was, you know, the time with the boat slow was really minimized. And in a crew configuration is a bit different. You can have, you know, more than one person doing the job. So it was definitely faster. But as you know, Charles said, because we don't have elevators on the rudders, the behavior of the boat on the waves is pretty brutal. You know, it's not a full foiling platform, but so especially in a sea state, it's quite tough.
Well, somebody that both of you have sailed with has a birthday. And today is Nico Lundven's birthday, and we were able to wish him a happy birthday this morning.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Nico. Happy birthday to you.
Have you had any presents or birthday cake today?
The wind slowed down a bit. I also enjoy a bit of rest, so I still didn't have time to open my present, but I will do it during the day. First of all, I have to find them. I don't know exactly where are they.
Are you not tired or fatigued from the conditions recently?
No, I have to be honest, I am a bit tired. The last few days were quite intense. On the goal of the day, and also tomorrow, because tomorrow is supposed also to be quiet, is to rest a lot, to have good food, to make a big tour of the boat, to check the boat if everything is fine.
Well, you're having a great race. Are you happy with your position heading into the Southern Ocean?
Yes, to be honest, I am very, very happy with the race I'm doing since the beginning. First of all, I have lots of pleasure and happiness sailing on that boat, on that race. And now it's going to be a new challenge for us, for me, going in the Southern Ocean. To be honest, it was a bit of apprehension for the last few days, but now we are at it now, so I'm not going to do backward. So there is no really more apprehension, and I'm quite happy looking at the weather forecast, what is the best strategy, what is the key point.
So, Nico, they're talking about apprehension going into the south. I was really surprised for him to be apprehensive. He's had such a long career and so much experience, but I guess now on an IMOCA on his own, he feels different.
Well, I think every time you go in this part of the world, you have apprehension, and especially when you are racing like they are doing now, because they know they can't slow down, you know, and that's quite difficult when you sail in this area and you have to push. So, yes, I think everybody is afraid of this part of the race, and they know that it can stop in 2 minutes if you damage the boat. So, yeah, I understand what he's talking about. And,
it's been like a warm-up, though, this low pressure
exactly,
that they find. It's been a warm-up in warm water before they get into the cold water.
Yeah, that is the danger of when you race around the planet like that. At the beginning, you think, okay, it's not so hard, but then you arrive in this part and you realize, okay, it's starting now. It's another game, and it's probably the only place where you sometimes stop racing just to, you only think about the boat and you forget the other one, and you think about the boat and you and taking care of you.
So, Francesca, we've both sailed with Nico and we headed into the Southern Ocean. And I remember that first Southern Ocean trip with Nico, and we had a big weather system to deal with. And we took the more cautious route compared to Charles on Dongfeng. But we know Nico's really good at the positioning and the weather and the understanding. So, you know, you have confidence in what he's doing. Have you been impressed with his race so far?
Yes, I think I was really impressed with the beginning, especially, you know, when he took a bolder decision, I would say, to stay more west after, you know, Cap Finisterre, and at the end it paid off a lot. He was able to really, you know, come back in the front pack and do an incredible like average speed, getting the 24-hour record. So, I mean, I was already impressed when I sailed with him in the ocean race with Judy, and you know his knowledge and understanding about weather system, how to position the boat compared to the weather. It's been, you know, for me personally, in that time where I had pretty much zero experience, it was eye opener. You know, I was just loving spending a few minutes eating my meal at the nav station and trying to understand what's going on in his brain and how we, you know, wanted us to sail the boat and what the objective was for the next few hours. I think it's really, really amazing in understanding, you know, what's coming next. How do I want to be positioned for what's coming next? And yeah, it's been really interesting to follow his race because it took sometimes different decisions and he opened up the game.
Yeah, and we know he's followed a traditional trajectory. We have seen Solitaire de Figaro sailors do very well, and we took that knowledge and we've learned from him on the ocean race. And Charles, you were saying there's no surprise along the front of this fleet with the history of the sailors there.
Yeah, most of them have won the Figaro or been part of the podium of the Figaro or the Mini Transat, so I'm not surprised the best sailors are ahead. And that's going to be an amazing match. And I think Nico is one of my favorites because he loves to be in the water, and I think this race is so long that he's very important. He's really happy on the sea, and he is a very quiet guy, and I think he doesn't care about the other one. He's making his race, and we know he's amazing when he's doing that. And yeah, it could be for me, he could be one of the winning guys.
Well, if Charles Caudrelier says your name to be a contender, then you got to listen. So the other thing that we're looking at is difference in the weather, because we're in very different weather at the front of the fleet to the back of the fleet. And Conrad Coleman has been explaining what's going on for him.
Certainly what's to come is, well, a little bit more like this, you know, cruising along in the Code Zero, reaching. And we're sort of diving underneath the anticyclone of Sainte Helene, the St. Helena High. And then in a couple of days, well, it's going to get breezy. And that's exciting. On the weather forecast, looking sort of 10 days ahead, is our first rendezvous, our first meet-up with the Southern Ocean Depression. That's exciting, because we're going to get stuck into the real thing. It feels just so incongruent to be sitting here with full sun and 10 knots of wind. And the front of the race is they're, you know, going hammer and tongs and breaking speed records and so on. It just feels like we're in the wrong room of the disco.
So that wrong room in the disco is for this area of the fleet, that Daggerboard fleet that's trailing behind in very different weather conditions. At the front of the fleet, we can see with this big picture that this is the low pressure that's moving south and away from them now, giving them a little bit of respite before they head round the Cape of Good Hope into those Southern Ocean lows. The cutoff here, you can see this group in the middle have been left behind a little bit. And if we look in more detail, we can see the front runners still riding the wind, and these middle group are left in a really small corridor trying to keep the boats moving forwards. Eventually, they will need to go south and align themselves with the next low pressure system coming, which will then take them quite a far way into the Southern Ocean. Now, the big concern for the front runners coming to the Cape of Good Hope is the Agulhas current. This flow of weather that comes south and to the west is going to kick up. You have big waves, big winds, and this comes against an adverse current, creating a really difficult sea state here. These boats are hoping that their trip will take them a little further south, but obviously they have the limit of the ice gate at the bottom. So they're going to be looking at these currents as well as the wind and the weather coming up. If we go to the standings, we can see there's been very little change at the front of the fleet. Charlie Dallin holding on to a very slim lead because Sebastian Simon was climbing up the rankings as he was repeatedly breaking that 24-hour record yesterday. Those conditions have subsided and we've seen some boat repairs going on board for Johan Richomme. Nothing serious, he was just making his chair more comfortable. Hanging in there with a second-generation boat is Sam Goodchild, which is having a really good race. Moving up, we see Sam Davis, Boris Herman, Clarisse and Justine Metro all holding it together, but these are the ones that are going to go south and find a different route around the Cape of Good Hope. Pip Hare hanging in there again with Roman Antolasio in similar boats, hanging in, trying to fight hard. And then in that Daggerboard fleet, we've got a really big group together. It's led by Jean Le Cam. Louis Duc is battling him for that front of the Daggerboard fleet. But the surprise for everyone is Violette d'Orange that hasn't given up, and she's just happily enjoying this experience and being super competitive. So these boats are all fighting at the front. Alan Rohrer has been doing some repairs. And then towards the back of the fleet, Ollie Here's moving up nicely. He said yesterday that he's sailing his boat quite conservatively. And then we have just one more sailor to cross into the southern hemisphere, and that should happen before the show tomorrow, which is great news. But the conditions here are very different, and Ollie Here tells us what it's like on Toot Goot now the conditions have changed.
Moving around is not easy. It's always like you're climbing a mountain or you actually walk down a mountain. We're heeling over an average about 25 degrees. So life is not very nice. What also goes with it is you need to really be careful, and you need to have everything stowed away properly at this angle. Otherwise things can go flying around easily.
Do you remember those days of leaning over sailing, Charles?
Of leaning? What do you mean?
Of heeling over?
Ah, yeah, sorry. It's a long time ago now for me.
Doesn't happen on the multi-hull.
No, well, it's happened. It's dangerous because you can capsize, so it's something we avoid. But yes, for sure, this is very uncomfortable to live like that. And I forgot it a bit, but that's what. You can see the boat flying. We sail very flat, and that's much better, I promise.
Yeah, so you're concentrating on height and not wanting to heel
Yeah, you don't want to heel. And your average heel is very close to zero most of the time, except upwind. And with the foil, you have like a suspension, so it's very comfortable. So we go much faster, but it's very comfortable until 3 meters of sea state, we can go really fast. After, it's another game. But yeah, it changed a lot, and that's why it's so difficult to live on an IMOCA, and especially with this speed, it's terrible. So they must be exhausted. So who's going to stop?
And looking at the Cape of Good Hope that's coming up, that's a massive landmark, the first great cape for the race. And we have memories from the last edition of the big rescue that Jean Le Cam did of Kevin Escoffier. And we're looking at the Agulhas Current. It can be a very turbulent place.
Yeah, it's a place, one of the worst places to sail on, because you have these currents against the waves, and the sea state can be very bad, and you also have lots of fish around this place. So that's a tricky part, and I think they will be happy when it will be behind them.
Well, I'm pleased to say that a little bit away from the Cape of Good Hope is Giancarlo Pedotti on board Prysmian, and I believe we've got him with us, joining us on the show today. Hey, Giancarlo, how are you? Come stai?
Good, thanks, and you?
Very good. It's good to see you in the sunshine enjoying your sailing. Well, we did have Giancarlo. Okay, Francesca, coming to you. Ah. Hey, Giancarlo. I see you've been racing in company. You've been chatting to your fellow competitors.
Yes, of course. Right now we are in this little group
and so we try to push for find a good wind, and I hope to catch the guys in front of us.
So you've been talking on the VHF with Alan Rohrer, Benjamin Ferry and Conrad Coleman. Were they asking you for pasta recipes?
Yes, but this is a secret. I can't tell the secret pasta. If not, the race is finished.
The hidden secret of the Italian speed is all in the pasta. Francesca, coming to you. Have you got a question for Giancarlo?
Yeah.
It's back maybe. I mean, it's nice to see him smiling, you know. Italy, everybody is so hard for Giancarlo, and
You have a question for him?
It's being, you know. Ciao Giancarlo, Francesca.
Francesca, come stai?
Bene, come stai? È bello vederti sorridere, eh?
Come?
È bello vederti sorridere.
Sorriderei un po' di più se non fossi troppo lontano dal gruppetto degli amichetti foiler davanti, ma piano piano sono fiducioso che riusciremo a grattare miglia dopo miglia.
Bravo, bravo. C'è un sacco di gente in Italia che fa il tifo per te e ti stiamo seguendo tutti. Stiamo veramente facendo un tifo grande. La regata è ancora lunga, quindi non si molla mai, eh? Da bravo italiano.
Assolutamente, Franci, sono d'accordo con te. È ancora lunga e quindi, insomma, speriamo che, visto che comunque il gruppo è rivenuto su quello che noi chiamiamo effetto scovazzera su di noi, speriamo che adesso possiamo averne uno noi nei confronti degli altri.
Esatto, esatto. Dai, grande. Non dirglielo a nessuno il segreto della pasta, va, quello tientelo per te.
Esatto, Fra. Queste sono cose nostre, tra italiani.
Esatto.
Sorry to break up the Italian party. We're going to ask Francesca for a translation, but before that, Giancarlo, grazie mille. It's been lovely to see you on our show today. Thank you for taking the time. Sail fast, sail safe, and have fun.
Thank you a lot.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
So, Francesca, what was the Italian discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I told him that in Italy there is lot of people really cheering for him, you know. It's he's the only Italian skipper in this race, and it's been always, you know, pushing a bit in a community that still struggle with some offshore sailing. And so yeah, I was just telling him that a lot of people believe that he can do like a good comeback, and it was really nice to see him smiling still, you know. He said that he would love to smile a little bit more if he was a bit closer to the other foilers, but at the same time, he hoped that, you know, the same effect, that like kind of bungee effect that happened with the front might happen again with the back fleet coming back into the front. So, you know, the race is long, and he knows that there are so many more days out there and so many different weather systems to go through. So really focusing on racing and not telling anybody the secret of his pasta.
Well, I'm sure he really appreciated some fellow Italian lingo there to talk to. Now, somebody that you both know really well, 2 times winner of the Ocean Race, with you, Charles, and with you, Francesca, on 2 different editions. Justine Metro, our Swiss sailor, on board Teamwork Team Snef. And she's had a tough couple of days, and I asked her how she was feeling after all her sail issues.
I feel in a good shape this morning, and now it's time to really focus on the race, the strategy, and getting ready for what's next. You know, now we're getting into the Southern Ocean, so yeah, normally it's not a sail that you use that much, so I hope it's going to be windy enough, so I can use the smaller sails and not be too impacted by the loss of my Zero.
And are you noticing the temperatures changing now? Are you getting closer to the Southern Ocean?
Yeah, you don't want to have your feet in the water anymore, so I took my boots today. And yeah, it's changing little by little, and we are getting south every day, so yeah, you can see the difference.
And apart from the sail drama, is the rest of the boat in good condition?
Yeah, so the boat is in pretty good shape, and I have some and some little job bits I hope I can work on tomorrow, because it's light conditions. It's around 10 knots tomorrow all day, so that's what I saw. So yeah, I will try to be efficient with that tomorrow and make the most of that day to get the boat ready for what's next.
So a tough couple of days for Gigi, but she seems to be in a good place and she's focusing on what's going forwards. Francesca, you sailed around the world with her in the same team and won. You know, what did you learn by sailing with Gigi?
She's such a hard worker. You know, it's for me, she's one of the top skippers out there, both between the male and female, group, and she's always really thinking about the details, about the performance of the boat, and you know, she might appear as a bit, you know, quiet introvert person that she is sometimes, but at the same time, when she's on the boat, it's really her comfortable place, and she just think about how to, you know, push the boat a little bit more, how to trim the sails a bit better, and that's, for me, it's been really fantastic to learn from her when I was racing with her and when we were in the same team. Before the last race, I didn't really know her really well. I know her sister better, and Juju is really, I think she's really deserving the backing of the sponsors that she has, the great project that she has, because she's really able to, you know, to push with the front group and show that, you know, no matter if you're a male or a female on board, there's no limit. You know, she can definitely race hard every day. And, you know, she had some issue with her J0 in the last few days, and that's for sure a bummer for her. But you can tell how she's already thinking ahead, thinking about what's next, and just get ready for it.
Well, it's really nice to have your insight. And Francesca, thank you for waking up early in the USA to join us on the show today. And we have our fingers crossed that we will see you in 2028. Thank you. And
Thank
Charles,
you so much.
You sailed with Gigi. What's your impression? She's got a second-generation boat right at the front there in the action.
No, she's sailing very well. His boat is a second generation, and his boat is quite tough to use it. It's not very easy to sail in the sea state with this boat, so she's doing an amazing job. But I'm not surprised. I've been sailing one leg with her, and she impressed me a lot. And I love the way she's sailing. She's always trimming the boat like I like to do. So she was an example for all my team who was tired at this moment. So she's a great person, and I believe she can do a very nice Vendée Globe.
That's great praise indeed, and I feel honoured that you joined me for the English show. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciated that and your insight, because you sailed with all these people and on all these boats. Good luck with the build of Gitana 18 and your future records, and I'm sure we will see you in the Vendée Globe one day.
I don't know, maybe.
So join me tomorrow, 1:30 UTC, 14:30 French time, where we will see if our front runners have actually entered into that Southern Indian Ocean. And let's not forget that tomorrow is Sustainability Day. And I leave you with a happy dance from Tanguy Le Turquoise in his happy place sailing his boat.